I would like to say overall that I was very disappointed with the governor not budging an inch in terms of the overall local control funding formula and the base grant figure. Failed to acknowledge that both the Assembly Speaker and the Senate President Pro Tem have both, emphasized the point that that all school districts have suffered in the past 5 years, and that at one of our first priorities needs to be to restore a lot of those cuts that have been made in those past 5 years. I think the Senate President Pro Tem's version calls for eliminating the concentration grant in order to increase the base funding, and while there isn't similar language in the Speaker's version, I mean, the Speaker also acknowledges the principle that all school districts need to gain from the economic recovery, and that there was a promise made under Proposition 30 that everyone, that all school districts would at least be able, will not see additional cuts if Proposition 30 passed. Well, what is the governor going to say to the 40%? I understand there's about 40% of school districts that stand to lose, under the local control funding formula, for those people who passed Proposition 30. I support, the governor's general goal and principle of providing, additional resources, additional funding for the students with the greatest needs. But I think it's not, as simple as calling it a civil rights issue. I mean, we all know for a fact that Washington, D.C. has the highest per pupil spending in the entire country, and yet they don't have the outcomes to be able to show for that, high level of per pupil spending. So, it's a much more complicated issue where, yes, we need to get, additional funding for disadvantaged students, but it needs to be tied to the accountability provisions, which brings me to my third point, which is, we have a formula, right? We have a system right now, the economic impact aid funding system, where we know that the dollars actually go to the students in need rather than just going to school districts, that have these highest concentrations of poverty or of English language learners. I think a lot of the districts that stand to benefit from the governor's local control funding formula also have or have been criticized for spending more of their money on administrators rather than on getting the dollars to serve the students. And so, I look forward to a more productive discussion in this upcoming month. But I think the end goals that we need to work toward is one, we need to restore the cuts from the past 5 years. Two, we need to increase the base funding for all school districts so that a rising tide raises all boats. And three, we need to make sure that the dollars actually reach the students in need rather than just going to districts for them to spend as they see fit.